So what body part is labeled 29? And you have 4 choices. So red is hips, blue is brisket, yellow is pole, and green is heart girth. I think most everyone got to answer. So what do we call an animal who is born without horns? So red is dehorned, blue is polled, yellow is no horn, green is disbutted. So what body part is number 27? I'll zoom in a little bit for a second. So red is thurl, blue is chine, yellow is stifle point and stifle joint, and green is crop.
Do you guys have the 2 pages? Do you have it? Ooh, you have to redo it every time, Brian. I got it right! It was the stifle joint.
I pressed. Ollie, you're unmuted.
So how many Weathers were born in 2014? Red is 5,016, blue is none, yellow is 6.8 million, and green is 4.2 million. That was a trick question, one that I got asked in one of my first showmanship classes. So what breed of dairy goat is pictured? So red is Nubian, blue is Saanen, yellow is Merino, and green is Charolais. Everyone got that one right. So another, what breed of dairy goat is pictured? Oh, there's the picture, okay. So red is Oberhausley, blue is Nigerian dwarf, yellow is Nubian, and green is Alpine. This is a true or false question. This is the correct way to move around your goat. True or false? So you always want to go around the front of your goat. What breed of dairy goat is pictured? There we go. So red is Toggenburg, blue is Oberhausley, yellow is Nigerian dwarf, and green is Sable. What body part is number 5? Red is escutcheon, blue is crop, yellow is medial suspensory ligament, and green is pastern. Another, what breed of dairy goat is pictured? So is it red a Saanen, blue an Oberhausley, yellow a Sable, or green alpine? Another what breed of dairy goat is pictured? So is it red an Oberhausley, blue a Saanen, yellow a Nigerian dwarf, or green an Alpine? How long are goats pregnant for? So red 160 to 165 days, blue 100 days, yellow 1 year, or green 145 to 155 days. Another what breed of dairy goat is pictured? So red a Saanen, blue a Nigerian dwarf, an Alpine, or an Alpine, yellow Alpine, or green sable. I accidentally put two goats that look very similar. I am very sorry. I meant to not do that. So this one honestly could go either way. And everyone got it right. She is one of the most known sables of all time. What body part is number 32? So I'll zoom in a little bit there for a second. So red a pole, blue a chine, yellow brisket, or green shoulder. Where are La Manchas tattooed? So red in the thigh, blue in the ear, yellow under the tail, green in the armpit. Another what breed of dairy goat is pictured? So red a Toggenburg, blue an Alpine, yellow a Nubian, or green a Saanen. My computer's running real slow. There we go. What does stature refer to in dairy goats? Red age, blue height, yellow width, or green milk production. Name the two types of La Mancha ears. Red short and long, blue elf and gopher, yellow extra short and little, or green elf and Santa. Lots of people trying to join currently. What is the normal temperature of a goat? Red 105 to 108, blue 101 to 103, yellow 96 to 98, or green 99 to 102. This is the last question. This is the correct way to move around your goat, true or false? So I'll zoom in a little bit. I don't even know why I gave it this long. So I think pretty much everyone has answered. Oh, there we go. Everyone did answer. So everyone got it right. So I think that was the last question. And so these are our podiums. And this is just a game. So, I mean, placing, I think we actually had a tie. Some people got everything right. And you just get different amounts of points depending on how fast you answer the question. So all of these people got all 20 right, and then we had 2 runners up. So congratulations to our 3 podium winners. So if everyone is interested, we have another Kahoot we can play. So these were our most difficult questions, was this one. So what body part was number 27? So we got 31% of people got it right. So I think I can, if that doesn't want to keep coming down, I can take this and close it, and hopefully everyone might be kicked back to the other screen. And if you want to, we can go into the second Kahoot. So this one's a little bit more hard. It is more based on linear scores, milk records, and kind of stuff like that. Stuff that I have only learned to read this year. So it's a little bit more difficult. So okay. So curious what the Weathers were born and registered in 2014. So there are no Weathers born. They are only born bucks. So that's the kind of trick question there. So no Weathers are born Weathers. So I'm going to pull up a new link or a new code. So if you have to get out of Kahoot and want to come back in, just go find that link in the chat. If you want me to repost it, if you can't find it, just let me know and I'll get it again and share it in there. Trying to pull up the chat and it's not wanting to. There we go. Someone said it's being really glitchy. I'm sorry. My computer and my internet, they are working at full capacity currently. So I know someone said that they were switching devices and they will join again. So it says we are disconnected. Does it say that you're disconnected on Zoom or on Kahoot?
Yeah, our internet was just all weird, so we had to switch to a different device because it would be easier for us to switch tabs from the Zoom to the Kahoot.
Okay. It wants another pin. So we joined a different Zoom Kahoot. So I will copy and paste that in the chat.
There we go. Thank you. We're already on. We're Royal Rumble.
Okay. Thank you again, Jocelyn, for putting the pin in again. So where do we enter it? I will get the link again and I can resend it once this little drop down menu leaves. Oh, go back up. There's the Kahoot link again for anyone who needs to join back in and couldn't find it. I thought my computer was about to die on me there. I got real nervous, but we're okay. So how many people? We have 27 people. I think we had about 31 in the last one. So if you are currently trying to join the Kahoot and just haven't yet, can you let me know in the chat and we'll wait for you? Think we're okay then. No one else is speaking up, so we'll go ahead. Oh, there's another person. Oh, another one. We've got 31 again, but I know we had several people join the last one in the middle of the Zoom. So loading, not accepting PIN. Okay. So it's not accepting the PIN. The only thing I can think of is the PIN you are trying to enter is wrong. So I will resend that. And if that doesn't work, you might try getting out of Kahoot and re-clicking the link. We are back. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. We're back up to 31 people. If anybody's still trying to join, can you let me know in the chat and we'll wait for you? I don't want a big screen here. I think we got another person. I'm gonna take that as a no then.
Wait for 1 second.
Okay.
Someone is like DMing me only, I think.
Oh, are they private chatting you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in now.
Okay, we're good? Okay. I'm going to start the Kahoot then. So this one is quite a bit more difficult. We're just gonna, if you don't know something that's on here, just kind of use it as a learning experience. So how many points on the AGDA scorecard is balance, symmetry, and quality worth? So red is 8 points, blue is 15 points, yellow is 12 points, and green is 6 points. So the right answer is 6 points. The only way I can remember that is I think 3 and 3. 3 for each half of the rudder. What does the number 3,840 mean on this milk test? So I'll zoom in for a second. Okay. So red, the age of the dough when she freshened. Blue, the day the dough kidded. Yellow, the age of the dough on milk test and day of milk test. And green, the age of the dough that she kidded. I think this question actually might be wrong. I think it mixed up the questions. I think that was supposed to be pounds per, or how many pounds the dough milked that day. So it mixed up the question on that one. I don't know why. I'll have to go back and see if I can fix that. So that one was a messed up question. A dough bred in November should kid in which month? Red, December, blue, March, yellow, April, or green, October? So 5 months after November is April. According to this trait evaluation, does this dough's medial suspensory ligament weak or strong? So I'll zoom in for a few seconds for you. And just to give you the answers, red is strong and blue is weak. So it's almost half and half. So if you guys want, you can say a little bit after and I can show you how to read those. How many points on the AGDA Junior Doors scorecard is chess worth? So red is 10 points, blue is 5 points, yellow is 7 points, and green is 15 points. So it is worth 7 points. What was this dough's 3-year-old rump score on this linear appraisal? So I'll zoom in for you. And I'll show you the answer. So red is E, blue is plus, yellow is A, and green is V. So we can go over how to read those two if you want as well. Does this dough have a deep or a shallow udder depth? So red is shallow, blue is deep. There we go. So it was almost half and half. How many points on the Agnes senior dough scorecard is legs, feet, and pasterns worth? Red, 15, blue, 25, yellow, 7, and green, 23. So they're worth 15 points. The senior doughs are worth 15 points, junior doughs are worth 23, and bucks are worth 25. That's a true or false question. Would this dough be considered tall in stature? So blue is true, red is false. What does the number 296 refer to on this milk test? So red, how old the dough is. Blue, how many pounds milked in a year. Yellow, what day the dough freshened. And green, days in milk. So this is another similar question to the one that was messed up. So I'm hoping this one will be correct. Yes, this one was correct. So DIM stands for days in milk. How many years and months old was this dough in 2017? So I'll give you the answer. So red is 1 year and 3 months, blue is 2 years and 3 months, yellow is 4 years and 4 months, and green is 3 years and 6 months. What color is Cou Blanc? So red, black hindquarters with a white front end, blue, white hindquarters with a black front end, yellow, black with white splashes, or green, brown with black points. What is penicillin used to treat? So a cystic dough, red a cystic dough, blue pneumonia, yellow ringworm, or green tapeworms. What is this dough's yearling dairy strength on this linear appraisal? So I'll zoom in for a few seconds. So red is E, blue is V, yellow is plus, and green is A. What is this dough's 2-year-old numerical score on her linear appraisal? Or 2-year-old score? I'll zoom out and show you the answer. So red is 90, blue is 88, yellow is 92, and green is 84. This is a true or false. A seeder can be used to time heat. So we can kind of go over what that is at the end if you guys want to. How many points on the Agnes Buck scorecard is backwards? So red is 25, blue is 20, yellow is 10, and green is 15. So a senior dough is worth 8 points, a junior dough is worth 12 points, and a buck is worth 10 points. What are the clinical signs of mastitis? Red, a distended stomach. Blue, gunky eyes and a runny nose. Yellow, a heat and chunky milk. Or green, limping. Which breed of dairy goat originated in the U.S.? Red, a Saanen. Blue, La Mancha. Yellow, Toggenburg. Or green, Alpine. So this is the last question. What hormone is released when you milk a doe? So I'm not going to try to even say red. I don't know how to pronounce that. Blue is adrenaline, yellow is luteolase, and green is oxytocin. So here's our podium. So I succeeded to be able to make this one a little bit harder than the last one. So you guys are free to leave. You can stay and talk a little bit. If you guys want to, let me know in the chat, and I can go over kind of how to look at linear scores and stuff like that. So I can bring that up. So a question you got in showmanship that was tricky. Where is an animal tattooed if unable to be done in the ear or tail? I have never heard that one. So my guess is they would probably be microchipped, because I don't know if there's really another good place to tattoo. The flank, really, is that the answer? I've never heard that before. I've never heard of being tattooed in the flank. I'm so glad everyone had fun. I hope it ran decently smooth. I've never done something to this scale. Really, in nationals. I've never heard that before. That is a really interesting one. I'll have to add that to one of my Kahoots. I'm glad everyone had fun. So I don't know if there's so few people have left. Yes, I can talk about linear appraisal. So I can pull that up. So I will just go to this Kahoot and I'll look at the picture. Somebody is trying to join, so I'll let them in and see if they want to kind of join the discussion, even though the Kahoots are done. So my screen just went dark, and so we're going to let it load for a second. So here's a picture of the linear appraisal. So this is actually a linear appraisal of a real doe. I went and pulled this off of AgriGenetics. Or this is not linear appraisal. This is the trait evaluation. Let me go. I'm getting them mixed up. Let me find the appraisal. There it is. So it's actually the same doe. So I went and got this off of AgriGenetics, and it should be available for any doe that has ever been appraised. I think there's someone else talking in chat. I'm glad everyone had fun. I had so much fun putting these together. If I'm being completely honest, I was finishing them at 10:30 last night because it is actually more difficult to come up with 40 questions than you would think. So for reading a linear appraisal, so over here is what year they were appraised. So for everything in this line right here, I hope you can see my cursor. So in this line right here, everything in that line was from 2018. And so she was 4 years old and 4 months. So, and then you're going to go piece by piece for each part of her body. So her head, she appraised a plus. Her shoulder assembly, she was an E. Front legs, V, and then so on and so forth. And then, so the ones that you're really looking at, there are the main 4 categories are general appearance, dairy strength, body capacity, and memory system. And then the little number that's associated with it over here. So this doe appraised EEEE 92, which is a really, really good score. So if I'm remembering correctly, the order of importance, it goes E is the very best and it's excellent. B is the next one and it's very good. And then I think there's A, which is, no, the next one is plus and it's pretty decent. And then A is acceptable. There might be an F that is a fault, but I can't quite remember. I've only been to 2 LA sessions. And so those are the 4 you're looking at, and then plus the little number. The number is kind of, I don't know how to really explain it. It's each part of the body is giving like a numerical score, and then they are all added up with using some really crazy math, and then you get that number. I'm not exactly sure how that works. You would have to ask an appraiser. So that's the basics on this one. So like if I were to say how old were the doe in 2016, I could say she was 2 years old and 3 months at the time of appraisal. And that year she appraised at EEVE 90. So a really good score for a 2-year-old. Also for appraisal, I don't know if everybody knows this, so only milking animals and bucks can be appraised. So dry stock cannot be appraised. Only when they are milking. So I'm going to bring up the chat here again. Does anybody else want to go over anything else? I can go over the little trait evaluations. Someone else is trying to join. We'll let them join to kind of join in the discussion for a few minutes. So trait evals. Okay, so somebody does want to look at it. So we'll look at it. So the trait evaluations, I actually learned how to read these October, I think. So it's a pretty new skill to me, but it is extremely helped me a lot. So it's really useful when looking at bucks you want AI because you can see, you can put a picture of what a doe looked like together in your head, even if there's not a picture of her. So the way you're going to read this, so we'll take stature. So I haven't quite figured out, I haven't learned what the PTA and RELs mean, so we'll ignore that for now, and I will try to learn it by next time, and maybe I'll be able to teach you then. But for now, we'll kind of focus on the other stuff. So trait. The trait you're looking at in this row is stature. So the trait average on this doe was a 29. And so it says Regan Racing, and I don't know if that was an accident or if that means something. If it is, you can unmute yourself and ask a question or say something. So a 5 would be she's short. A 45 would be she's extremely tall. And so the way you can kind of know this better is, so this line would be the middle. So she is just average. So the line is on the tall side. So the tall is on this side of the number. So imagine this line is right here. So she is on the tall side. And the funniest thing, this doe that this trait evaluation came from is my showmanship doe. She is a very short doe. She's not extremely short, but she's shorter. She could definitely use some stature. So I always find it funny that this is so high. And so someone else is in the waiting room who was just in here, so we'll let them in again. So, and then you can look at strength. And so 5 is weak and 45 is powerful, and she was a 27. And so she was more on this side, the weak side of that. So she was a weaker doe. And then dariness, so coarse, sharp, she was a sharper doe. I can also pull up a picture of this doe at some point if anyone wants to kind of put a doe with this. I just have to go find her. So that's pretty much how you read that. I will hopefully try to learn how to read PTA and REL by next time, and then maybe I can kind of discuss that more. So does anybody else want to look at anything else on here? I think we still have milk records. So a picture would be great. So I'm going to stop screen sharing then. I'll go find her picture and then I'll bring that up again. So I think I know exactly where she is. Here is her picture. So I will bring up the screen share again. So this is her. She is, as you can see, she's kind of short, which is super surprising. She's pretty dairy, as you can see. We can go back to the card. So we can kind of put things together. So we'll go with rear legs side view. So she was more angled than she was posty, which, let's go back to her. Whoa, it zoomed in. How do I undo that? There we go. So you can see she's pretty angular in the back. If you pinched her down, she would get more angular. It says there's another chat and it's not letting me go to it. Let's pull that up. Or at least try real quick. It does not want to pull the chat up, and I don't know why. Come on. It is not going to let me do that. Okay. I'll look at that in a second then. So we can look at, I do have another picture actually. So medial suspensory ligament. She was on the super strong side of it. So we can go pull up her udder picture if I can figure out how to get out of the full screen of it. It's going to zoom in. Let me go back. So here's her udder. This isn't a great picture. This was her at nationals, I think 3 years ago. So she's not completely full here. I think she had been partially knocked out. But you can see the strength of her medial suspensory ligament. So her teeth are pretty plumly placed. So we can go look at that too. I think that's on there. Teeth placement. So she's a bit more close than she is wide, which is true. She has wider teeth than she has narrow. So that's true. She has a bit bigger teeth than most would prefer. I think that's pretty much it on the trait evaluation. Does anybody want to look at the milk records? I'm going to see if I can get, it will pull up the chat for me. It won't, so I'm going to have to stop sharing and then look at it. Oh, there it is. Someone saying thank you.
I have a doe name that you can use if you want one for milk records.
Oh,
she has a really high one.
Oh, you have one?
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know how I can get that from you. I think I have one on the Kahoot though that we can use for this time. I might see if I can get that from you.
Mine's just a name. That's why I was like, I can tell you a name.
Oh. I might take that name from you next time so I can use a different one.
That's
So
fine.
here's her milk record. So age is right here. I think, am I screen sharing or am I not? I don't think I am. My computer is starting to slow down. It is not liking this. So screen share. There we go. Can everyone see my screen now? Okay, cool. So her age is right here. So this is the day of the milk test. So she was 5 years old and 0 months. So she could have been 5 years old in 20 days, but it doesn't add up to a full month, and they're not going to go down to the day. Days in milk. So she was in milk for 296 days. Most lactations, they try to hit a 305-day lactation. So milk, she produced 3,840 pounds of milk in that lactation. And then fat, I think it's pounds of fat, which is 197. So 197 pounds of fat in 296 days. And then this is protein. So it's 135 pounds of protein in 296 days, which is pretty impressive, especially for a smaller doe like her. Is there anything else anyone would like to go over? I'm going to try to pull up the chat again. And maybe, hopefully, this time it will work. It will not. I don't know why all of a sudden Zoom hates me. So we'll stop screen sharing so I can watch the chat. There we go. I'm glad you had fun. I was super excited to put this on. It's been fun. It was stressful for a few hours before, but it was very fun.
I have a question about show prep.
So show prep. Okay. What's your question?
Yeah, with shaving. So
Okay.
I've heard a few different ways that you can shave them with a few different blades. I was just wondering, what do you prefer when shaving?
Okay, so it really depends on the time of year. So from about starting in May, late May, I will clip does with 10s as long as it's warm enough, and I will do their whole bodies in 10s. For the later shows or the earlier shows, I will typically use a 7 on their bodies and then blend it with a 10. That's how I prefer to do it. A 7 looks really nice, especially if you're doing it a couple days before show. So if you have about a week before a show, I'll go with a 10 if it's in the right season. If it's not, if it's still in the right season for a 10, but you only have like 2 days before a show, especially if it's a white or a black goat, I'll use a 7 because it'll look nicer the day of show, especially on a black goat, because if you clip a black goat 2 days before show with a 10, they look like a peeled onion. So that's how I prefer to do it. I know a lot of people do different ways.